Dylan. I'm here with Paige Rutledge. How are you doing today?
Hi, Dylan. Thank you so much for having me. I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. So I'm gonna start you off with an easy question. How did you start your
Yeah.
music career?
Oh man. So I'll it's a long story, but I'll keep it I'll try to keep it short as possible. So I've always loved music, and I think that's like one of my earliest memories of being little was putting on shows for my parents or, forcing my little brother or forcing my friends to be in performances with me while we were younger. And I remember one of my first Christmas gifts was a karaoke machine. But I really started kind of like knowing that I wanted to do music when I was 9. And I guess it's like a sad-ish story, one of those that kind of, I guess everything happens for a reason stories. But I always loved to sing, like I said. And my grandpa had actually built me a stage at our cottage. And so I used to invite the cottage road and everyone that we had up to come watch my little shows when I was like 7 years old every weekend. And when I was 9, sorry, he got diagnosed with cancer. And he was the one that introduced me to country music. Like, if there's anyone that loved Shania Twain more than me, it was definitely him. So when he got sick, we would go over after school and he would ask me to sing to him. So pull up like the laptop and pull up YouTube karaoke and sing like High School Musical and Hannah Montana because that's what I was into at that time. And then he ended up passing away. That was December of 2007. And I sang at the funeral. And that was the first time that I had ever actually like decided that I was, gonna sing at something, which sounds really like sad considering it was my grandfather's funeral, but it was such a life-changing moment for me. And I think it was one of those moments that made me recognize that even I've reflected a lot on that because I don't think I knew at 9 years old because you're so young. But when I thought back on that moment, I think it was one of those moments that I realized music is really cool and can be there to support you through really bad times, be there to support you through really good times. And it's such a special way to bring people together. And then after that, I just asked my parents if they could put me in singing lessons. And I started playing shows at bars when I was like 15 years old. And my dad would have to come and sit with me because I wasn't old enough to be in a bar. And here we are, still putting out music and writing songs and playing shows and getting to share my messages and stories with the world.
Awesome. Well, I am sorry for your loss, but I do believe that
Oh,
your
thank you.
grandfather would be so proud of you because you're extremely talented.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And I think that's why, like, even I just put out Gone Ain't Really Gone, and I've had that, and that song just means like the world to me because it kind of is, it's like that's the story of,
Mhm.
kind of my journey, I guess, along the way. And, that's something we all go through, but it definitely, and it changes your life. Like, it's definitely whenever you lose somebody, it kind of alters your path. But I think it can maybe, like it's that everything happens for whatever reason that it's supposed to, and finding the good in kind of the bad situations.
Right. And are you the only one in your family that has a musical background?
In my immediate family, yes, my parents both work in sports, and my brother is super into sports. My whole like and even extended family, majority of them are kind of into we're a very hockey oriented family. I'm sure you can see even in this Zoom video right now, there's hockey jerseys behind me as I sit in my house. But my cousin Alex tomorrow, he's a musician as well. He's in a really cool Canadian band called Valley. And we do this music thing together. So it was at the start of, I guess the start of COVID. We were both living at our cottage and we didn't have much to do, just like the rest of the world did not have much to do when everything got shut down. So we turned our cottage into a recording studio and put out, oh gosh, I don't even know how many songs now at this point. But since the end of 2020, we've been releasing music and recording music from the cottage. And then recently we brought in Matt Cable, who is another fantastic producer. And it's been the three of us getting ready to release music.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what would you describe your musical genre to be?
Oh man. I'd be lying if I said like not Taylor Swift because I feel like she's just like a whole genre in herself right now, and I love Taylor, but definitely she's a massive influence in my writing, and I just think she's so cool for just kind of like defying, odds and like defying like what a genre is. So definitely a lot of Taylor influence, like that country pop sound. I also love like late 90s, early 2000s country, like Shania Twain and Sarah Evans. So I'm really big on like bringing in like really fun little banjo parts that kind of reference like 90s country. So I'd say a good healthy mix of country pop with very like modern pop aspects, and then like kind of thrown in some of the late or early 2000s, late 90s country influences and some of the instrument choices.
Awesome. And completely unrelated question, do you prefer old
Yeah,
Taylor or new Taylor?
it's a good question. That's a very good question. You know what? I'm like, definitely, if you had asked me this, like when she started releasing her new albums, like when she first put out Reputation, I was like, no, no, I can't do this. And now present day Paige is like, Reputation is so good. But my favorite Taylor albums do happen to be the earlier ones. I think just because that was when I was starting to want to write songs, and a lot of it, like Speak Now and Fearless, are two of my favorite albums, probably ever. And definitely drew a lot of what my sound wanted to be and like kind of what I wanted to say from those specific albums. So just for that purpose, I'd say old Taylor, but I'm just a Swiftie all around. I'm a true Taylor lover, and I think it's really cool to see how massive she's just gotten, and everyone's now Team Taylor. And I'm like, where were you all 10 years ago? But it's fine. I'll take it now. We can all sing Taylor Swift together now. It's fine.
Awesome. Do you have any passions besides music?
Yeah, I actually so I grew up figure skating, which that was
Really?
my yeah, yeah, and I loved it. Like that was when I was younger, that was before I knew I wanted to do music. I wanted to skate. And my mom's a figure skating coach, so my dad works in hockey. So I think it was like the second I turned 2 years old, or like just shortly after two, I had learned how to skate already because there was no option. It was you were going on the ice and you were learning how to skate. So I started competing when I was pretty young. I think I was like 6 or 7, maybe like between like 7 and 8, somewhere in that age range, already started competing and skating because I just loved it so much. And so much of my childhood was spent in the arena. And it's such a beautiful and even still, like when there's figure skating competitions on the weekends, if I'm home, I'll always go to my mom's club and be like, oh, what can I do to help just to like be around the arena again? But yeah, that was and still like I miss that. And you know what though? I always think about it because I did start competing so young. It was that moment of being on the ice and you're on the ice by yourself. So I think that had a lot to do with loving being on stage and loving being like in that kind of performance setting. So I feel like they balance each other out, but and it like fueled more of my love for performing. But I loved skating. So still just like a huge fan of the sport and love watching it. And any opportunity like in the winter when we go up to the cottage and skate on the lake. Favorite time. So yeah, but that was pretty much like figure skating and music. That's all there was. Those are my two like little passions when I was little.
Awesome. That's very, they're both kind of night and day from each other,
Yeah,
kind of.
very, very. And it's yeah, like could not be more like sports, music. But it's kind of cool how I've noticed go over the years and even just like watching friends go through sports or like kind of seeing the similarities of how two completely separate industries kind of intertwine with each other. And it's been really fun. Like in Canadian country music, at least I can say I've had so many like hockey crossovers in my life with it. And I'm like weird, just like weird situations where people are involved in hockey and then somehow in country music. And I'm like, it feels kind of Canadian. It feels very, very meant to be.
Yes. So are we gonna have a figure skating song in the future? Is that maybe something?
Oh my God. Oh my God. My friends always, when I was growing up, they're like, why don't you sing your program? Like when you're like competing, why don't you sing along while you skate? And I'm like, because that sounds like a ton of work. Maybe I'll have to like throw a little skating line in there one day.
Awesome. And you mentioned you are a songwriter, am I correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And,
Write all of my own stuff out there.
awesome. And do you have a process when you write your songs?
Yeah, I've been really fortunate over the past, I guess, 3 years now, and a little bit before COVID, but to like collaborate and co-write. And so I started like slowly kind of meeting people along the way right before COVID had started. And then I kind of look at that time frame of just like the world shutting down in like a career sense. Like obviously it was so horrible and so tragic, but in a career sense, like a little bit of a blessing because it just allowed me to connect with so many people online and start writing with people from all across Canada and across the States. And even like I was writing with people in Europe, which I don't
Wow.
think without yeah. And I think like I maybe like can speak on behalf of a lot of other musicians. I know a lot of people, I know a lot of my friends experience the same thing because everyone had so much free time. So it was such kind of like that blessing, like just happening a little bit where you're like, ah, if this had happened, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet these people and write all of these songs. So I'm definitely like a real life kind of gal, and I love like living and making memories and stuff. And I'm very like I try to be so super present in the moment because I think that's when like the most organic things happen. But my phone, like if you open the notes on my phone right now, it's just like single words, song titles, lyrics, and then I always try to like kind of elaborate on those and bring them in. But I'm a very big vibes girl, so as soon as I'm like in a writing session, I'm like, we should light a candle. We should put like twinkly lights up. Like let's set a really cute environment so we can write a fun song today. Which which was easy on Zoom. When you go to other people's houses, sometimes you can't just obviously like overstep and be like, let me rearrange everything before we write this song. But yeah, it's been cool, and I definitely love getting to write with other people. I think it's a really special process, and you get to know people on a totally different level, and like see the way that other people's brains work creatively just forces you to be better, and like kind of like sometimes pick up on their writing habits, and then you find yourself adapting and becoming a stronger writer. And so I think my favorite part about like the songwriting process is how collaborative it really is.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And how do you handle writer's block?
Oh man, writer's block is the worst because I used to get, I think, really upset when I had writer's block. And especially, like I mentioned, like during that first bit of COVID, I feel like the only thing I was doing was like waking up, going on Zoom, and writing a song every day with people kind of from all over. And so there was like, you can only, like writer's block is normal and it totally happens, just like in life, like you go through those blocks. And I've found now that when I'm experiencing that, I actually take not a break necessarily, but like I try to focus my creative energy elsewhere. And so I just got back from Nashville not too long ago on a writing trip, and the purpose of being there was to write songs. And that was I had, thought about I hadn't written too much kind of leading up to that because I was playing shows and recording music and releasing music. So my creative energy was directed towards that. And I feel like because of that, I was able to go in with a really fresh head, like a really good mind space or headspace, sorry, into that writing week and know that like this is what I'm doing this week. So I think like for me at least, the way that I was like kind of avoiding that writer's block was I was balancing what I was putting my energy towards. And like I feel like knowing that I was going to write and like that was the purpose. I wasn't, like confused, or I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm going to write. And I was in that headspace, like arriving in Tennessee.
Awesome. And did you have a fallback option if your music career didn't go as planned?
I'm not, no, no. And it's funny because I always was like oh man, I was like, whatever. I'm just kind of a live life to the fullest person. I also believe that if you work really hard, like no matter what, something has to work out for you. And maybe it's not exactly how you intended it to work out, but if you're a good person and you work hard, like opportunities happen. And if you create your own opportunities. But besides wanting to be a figure skater when I was little, as soon as I was like, no, I want to sing. And then I even like all throughout school, all through high school and university, everything I was doing, I was like, I'm just singing. Like, and everything, like my music, I took a vocal degree. So technically music is actually like what I went to school for too, which is kind of fun. So it's just been, I think it's one of those things where you have to like, I don't like, I hesitate to use the word like tunnel vision, but you have to like, you have your sights just set on what you want to do. And you just gotta, it's a process. Like it's definitely a journey. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of moments that really, really suck sometimes, but there's also those like the most rewarding moments that encourage you to keep going. But no, music was always like once I kind of made that decision, music has always been the goal. There was a period in my time, and I have no idea why, that I thought I could be the Prime Minister of Canada when I was like in grade five. I just went through this. I think it's because I was like the Prime Minister of my school at one point, and I was like, I can do this. And I was like, no, you can't be the Prime Minister, Paige. Like, don't be the Prime Minister. You don't want that responsibility.
2028 is it or 2030 Prime
Maybe I'll throw
Minister?
my name in.
Yeah,
Who knows?
you got my support.
Oh, amazing. Perfect. Thank you.
One support vote right now. Boom. That's
That's all I need. That's it. That's all I need.
So when was the last time you performed?
Oh, I don't even know what day it is today. May 16th. Well, I was gone. Oh, April 23rd. I played in this really amazing Women of it's the Mu Women of Music Canada, but it was a Toronto edition showcase. We were playing. It was myself and oh my goodness, I don't even remember how many there was of us. I think there was either five other artists, but it was a really, really fantastic day. And I think the coolest thing about that showcase in particular was I hadn't had a chance to play with anybody on that lineup before. Because you get to know the people you play with quite often, and especially in the country world, like it's very big, but it's also very small, and you get to know each other very quickly. And so every single one of the women in this lineup were not country artists. I was actually the only country artist kind of going into it. Some of them had some like country influences, but a lot of them were more pop leaning or R&B, which was really cool to get to play with people across different genres. But yeah, that was the 23rd because then I woke up at 5 a.m. and left for Nashville on the 24th. And then I just got back. So I was like, how do I have to think about that? But yeah, that was a great opportunity. We had a full crowd that night, and it was like probably the best way to celebrate a Sunday. I was like, it's Sunday night and we're playing music. What gets better than that?
Awesome. Well, look at you go.
Oh, just, still catching up on the sleep. It's still,
So what's it like to perform on stage for you?
I love it. Like if I had to pick a single part or a single thing that's like my favorite, I guess, part of getting to do music, it would be performing. I love being on stage, and it's just such this like, I don't, it's like this exhilarating feeling. It's just, I think there's something so special. Like I'm just so passionate about music and getting to share these messages. And I've been fortunate to receive, like messages from people over social media when I put out music, just saying like how much they relate to my songs or, like, or tell me and share their story. So then when I'm on stage and you're like watching these people engage with you and you can just like see that they're understanding what you're saying and you like know that you're kind of like touching people. It's just a really, really special feeling. And it's just, I always feel that, like, if I get to be up there and I get to tell a story or if I get to share a song that can, help someone, help one person in the crowd that night or find, like, help them get through a breakup or help them get through loss or just one of those things that whatever I'm singing about, then, like, then I was able to do my job that night. And I also just like from a completely different side of the performance world, I love getting to dress up sparkly and just like throw on my glitter guitar and put on my rhinestone boots. And that part's fun too, because you can't just walk down the street every day dressed like a disco ball. So that's I like that part of being on stage too. It's fun. And when we do full band stuff, you get to share music with people that you love. And when you're on stage with your friends, it's a very special experience.
Awesome. And is there anything you would do differently or change in your music career?
I don't think so, because I think the things that have maybe not gone the way that I had hoped for or gone the way that, I had planned happened for that reason. And then I was able to learn from those experiences. And I don't think you ever stop learning. And you have to go through kind of those moments that don't necessarily work out the way you want in order to know how to not have that happen again. So it's just a constant learning process. And I've always tried to stay in that mind space of, again, like not to say it, but like the everything happens for whatever reason, but also like learning from mistakes and trying, like not getting so down on myself and being kind to myself when things don't work out. And then you learn from that and be like, okay, this happened. How can I make this better going forward?
Awesome. And is there any upcoming plans in your music career?
Oh yeah. It's just, I had last weekend off when I just got home and it was nice to like kind of have that little bit of just like a breather before everything starts. Cause now I guess really from now until kind of September, October, it's just constant shows and getting to travel for some shows and I'm playing in Thunder Bay this summer and Country on the Bay, which is probably like one of the biggest, like most exciting things that I'm looking forward to this summer. And also releasing an EP in the fall, which I feel has been like a long time coming in a sense, because I've been, working really hard at creating a sound that's so true and so unique to myself. And I'm excited to have a complete project out, like kind of sh putting that all together, everything that I've done over the past 3 years, not everything that has been previously released is on it, but some of the more recent stuff is, along with new music. Like there's two new songs coming out on the EP as well. One's coming out in the summer, and then the other one will come out with the EP. And just getting a chance, to kind of capture the last 3 years, 2 to 3 years of my life in a project is a very rewarding and beautiful feeling. It's almost like the end of an era, and then it's like this cool and exciting new feeling that you get to go into next year with this new kind of era of what you're going to say and share new stories with people. So just playing a ton of shows, and I think yeah, it's going to be really exciting. I'm very, very optimistic and looking forward to what is to come for the remainder of this year, which feels kind of weird saying considering it's only May, but the rest of 2023 is very exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to, and I'm super proud of you. And I hope
Thank
you can
you.
eventually come to Edmonton so I can watch you perform live.
Oh, I would love to. I finally actually made my way out to Alberta in September of last year, but I was in Calgary for the Canadian Country Music Awards, and it was my first time being in Alberta, and it is gorgeous. I could see the mountains from my hotel room, and I was like, what is going on in Toronto? Not mountains, I'll tell you that.
Of course, anytime you're in Edmonton area, let me know. I'll be happy to show you
I
around,
will.
give you a tour.
Amazing. I cannot wait.
Now we're going to transition so I can ask some questions about you so we can get to know you better.
Okay.
What's your favorite color?
Pink.
Why pink?
Everything I own is pink.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
I love, no, I love my laptop's also pink. I don't know. I think honestly, I've never wavered off of it too. You know how like people go through different stages of their life, like changing their favorite color? Pink always. Like my room growing up was hot pink. All of my like little like my guitar, like the rhinestones are pink on it. All of my little accessories are pink. I love it. I think it's fun and bright, and I tend to like actually I do neon all the time now because I'm like it's just more energetic, and in the winter when it's cold outside and things are bright, I tend to be in a better mood.
Awesome. So I know a couple of your passions, music and figure skating,
Yeah,
but what
yeah.
are some of your hobbies?
Oh man, hobbies. That's a good question. I think aside from I love I don't know if this is like maybe a hobby, but this is like I love spending time at my cottage. Like that's what I do when I don't have anything to do, and hanging out with my friends. And we have this really beautiful community of people at like up north at the cottage, and we water ski and play like beach volleyball. So I'd say like that kind of just moment as a whole, because I don't have a lot of time aside from kind of music to do like other things like that. So I'd say like getting to do like water skiing and playing volleyball and like kind of just living like those summer moments are some of my favorite things to do outside of this.
Awesome. That sounds like fun and nice.
It is. Yeah.
What does your typical evening look like for you?
Um, well, recently it's been a lot of if I'm not playing, going to watch shows or trying to like kind of see what's going on in the area. Um, I try to I try to go out to as many different shows and local kind of artists' performances as I can, just because I really do believe it's important to support one another and be in each other's journeys. And also, like, what's better than live music? I also, because the summer is about to get really crazy, I've been really trying to see my friends recently because I'm like, hi, good to see you in the fall after this point. So, but normally, like on a typical show day, like wake up, pack up the car, get ready, and then go play some music.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What is your most prized possession?
Oh, my guitar. My rhinestone guitar. That guitar means the whole world to me. And if anything were to happen, and I'd be so upset. I just, I put in too much money and too much work into that guitar for it's beautiful, but it took 3 months out of my time, and which I love. No regrets. Rhinestoning my guitar was the best thing I've ever done, but it was a process. It was a whole a not so bad process, but there was definitely moments where I was like, this was a lot more than I anticipated. So I love that guitar more than anything in the world.
Awesome. And what is the greatest accomplishment in your young life?
Oh man. That's a good question, actually. I don't know. I'd say there was a couple months ago that one of my really good friends, Celine Tremarky, she has a podcast called Country with Celine, and I had gone along with her because I didn't have anything. Like I had the day off, so she's like, "Why don't you come with me downtown? Like I have some interviews I have to do." And I guess like up until that point, I had never really thought about this, but one of the artists said something along the lines like when we were talking about accomplishments, like kind of that question similar, and just talking about like how far you've come and just being super present and living in the moment. And if you were to look back like 5 years ago, you would be so proud of where you are now. And that kind of shifted my mindset a little bit, where I was like, that's such a beautiful way to look at things because you're always hoping to achieve more and you're always looking, you know, to do like, okay, what's next? What's next? But I think like I'm proud and like if if I were to talk to, Paige 10 years ago, I wouldn't even imagined that, I'd be getting to release music and play shows and play festivals today. So I think just like kind of being present in the moment and being proud of everything I've accomplished so far, career wise, I'd say. I don't know if there's like a specific moment, but just like continuing to do what I love because a lot of people kind of give up on their dreams sometimes because dreams are hard and you got to put in the work to do it. And so I'd say I'm very proud of myself for continuing to pursue this crazy little music career.
Awesome. That sounds cool.
Thank
That's
you.
good. That's a good answer as well.
Thank you. Thank you. No, and like I said, I did just that one comment alone from one of the other musicians switched my mind, like just changed every, like sometimes you hear people say something and you're like, I've never really thought about it that way. And I think that's a cool it's yeah, changed the way I look at things, that's for sure.
Awesome. And what is your favorite holiday?
Christmas. I love Christmas. Christmas, so I'm not a Halloween lover and sorry to anybody. I like typically offend people when I say that and I can't do Halloween. I'm scared of every single thing in the world. I'm a giant chicken. So as soon as it's like Thanksgiving is over, I'm like, okay, it's Christmas. I'm like, we're gonna start decorating the house. And I like slowly, my dad and I, when I was growing up, we would slowly start putting out decorations in October. And my mom would be like, put those away. Like, we are not, it's not even November. Yeah, but I love Christmas. I love getting to spend time with people that I love. And I definitely getting to, not to be like around as much anymore or having a busy life makes you definitely appreciate those holidays more when you get to be with your friends and family.
Awesome. Good answer.
Thank you.
Do you have any favorite bands or artists?
Yeah, I love, I'm pretty open to a lot of different, I always try to like when I hear a song, I always try to appreciate like if it's a good song. But like I said, I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan just because when she started releasing music, I was like, 8 years old and just kind of starting to know that I wanted to do music. So that was just a huge part of my growing up and all of the stuff that she was releasing. It was just, I have so many memories around that. I also love Shania Twain. Shania Twain was my first concert ever with my mom. And I love Dolly Parton just because I think she's a lovely human. And I don't know her, but I would love to know her one day and just everything. Like she just seems like she puts the most positive energy out into the world. But I'm a really big fan currently of female country music. I think there's a lot of women out there releasing some really cool stuff and like really pushing boundaries lyrically and like conceptually of what is being said in country songs. But I'm just like a country music lover in general and just a fan of music. And I think um, I don't think you should ever lose, like, even though you get to write songs and play music, I don't think you should ever lose that part of being just a fan of music and getting to enjoy what other people are doing as well.
Right. That's a good answer.
Thank you.
What are you most thankful for?
The support from my family. And I am incredibly fortunate. Actually, all of my family members and my friends are genuinely supportive and have always been. There's never been like a moment of doubt in my mind, being like, I wonder, like, my friends and my parents are the first ones to show up for everything. And I think having that kind of support especially when sometimes the moments are a little bit more challenging or sometimes it's not working out the way that you hope for is very important because they're the people that push you to keep going. So I'm very thankful for the support because I do know like sometimes when you talk to other people and you hear other people's stories, they don't always have that same support from family members. So I'm grateful for that.
Awesome. And is there anything you wish more people knew about you that they don't know about you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I think one of the most lovely compliments that I've ever received was somebody said to me one time, they're like, we can feel your energy through your music. And I was like, that is the nicest thing because I just really believe in waking up every day. And if I can smile at a person and that makes their day, like, I just believe that there's so much good out in the world and that you should, like, why be
Hmm.
sad? Like, there's so many great things happening. And so, that was I just try to be, and you know what? I'm just happy. I have a lot of wonderful things going on. So I don't know, because I hope that still continues to come through in my music, that like excitement and energy. And even though it's a sad song, like people can still feel my personality come through. So I'm very proud of that, my personality can come through in my music. But what would I want people to know about me? I feel like I'm a pretty open book. To be completely honest, I'm like trying to think if there's anything specific. I don't think so, except for just I'm always ready for a good time and always ready to have fun. So if someone's looking for fun, I'm your girl.
Awesome. So where do you see yourself in 10 years realistically?
Oh man, hopefully still playing shows and maybe a little bit more, settled in one spot, one spot of the world. But ideally, in 10 years, if I was still playing shows and still getting to release music and share stories and messages with people, then that'd be a pretty exciting future.
Awesome. And do you have any merchandise or anything like that?
I do. We're just like kind of getting, I didn't mean to say it like that. I don't mean like getting rid of, but all of the winter stuff is like on its way out. And then I'll be putting out some new stuff in the summer for a little summer collection coming out soon. So there's still a few winter hats left, even though it's not winter, but we're all like in Canada, we know how quick winter comes back and it's
Hmm.
not pleasant and it comes back cold. So if anybody needs something to keep their head warm and they're thinking into the future months, there's still Paige Rutledge winter toques available.
Awesome. Sounds like I'm gonna have to get some merch.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send some over.
Awesome. And while we're kind of near the ending part here, I got a quick hypothetical question for you.
Okay.
Would you rather have
Oh no.
overnight, would you rather have overnight success or have success built up through year after year after year, gaining more popularity each year?
That's a tough one. I think the journey is incredibly important because it makes you appreciate and be more thankful for when things happen. Now, like what everybody wants overnight success, so you just kind of don't have to, go through those hardships a little bit, of course. But I think you know what? I'm very thankful for the journey and getting to meet people along the way. So I'd say working for it every single year pays off.
Really interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, like what I want overnight to wake up and be, Justin Bieber and have everyone already like doing the work. Oh, that'd be nice. But you have to learn how to do things along the way. My parents would be like, Paige, we taught you to work hard in life.
And not to diss Justin Bieber, but maybe if he would a little more gradually each year instead of just overnight, he might not have had the early issues.
Right, right. You definitely learn. That's what I'm saying. Like learning is super important along the way. With any career, I guess, right? Like you gotta
Yeah.
you gotta go through those moments where you're like, oh, good thing that didn't happen in a couple of years.
So is there anyone you'd like to shout out or promote?
Um, all of the amazing Canadian country artists that I get to write with and play shows with, and there's a lot of talent in Canada and a lot of really, really cool artists that people may have never heard of, but should check out for sure. And I'll just like leave it as a whole because there's so many, and I don't want to forget anybody if I start saying names.
Right. And last but not least, is there anything else you'd like to chat about with me or in general while you have the floor?
Oh man, I think we covered a lot. Um, we talked about new music, we talked about shows, we talked about the journey.
How
I don't
awesome you
know,
are.
can you? Oh, well, thank you, thank you. Is there anything else? I don't know. I can't think of anything right now.
Okay, I guess then we'll have to plan for a part two in the future when you're more successful.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, like I said, if you're in Edmonton area, let me know. I'd love to get
I
some
will
merch,
for sure.
check out your shows and all that. Support you as best
Yeah.
much and as best as I can.
Yeah. And now we're connected through email. And so that will be perfect. And then whenever, if you have anything or like, what's the best way to follow you on socials? Is there a way to?
I'll send you my links and then you can send me your
Okay.
links so then when I upload it, I
Perfect.
have all that.
I can make sure I share everything. Perfect. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank
Lovely.
you
Then
so
that's
much.
great.
This was fun.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you, Dylan.
Bye.